Lately, things feel strange, not broken, just off. You walk through your day like a ghost in your own life. Everything still looks the same, but nothing feels the same. You speak, but the words echo differently. You smile, but the weight behind it is heavier than ever. And deep down, something inside you whispers, this version of life is quietly dissolving, and you're already leaving it behind. You haven't lost your way. You've simply started sensing the truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Reality isn't as fixed as it seems. And what you're feeling right now, this discomfort, this disorientation, is not failure. It's a frequency shift. No one talks about what it feels like to leave behind a timeline, how surreal it is to watch your routines hollow out, how painful it is to release relationships that still love you but no longer see you, how terrifying it is to lose interest in a life you once fought to build. But this isn't the end. It's an energetic migration from survival to sovereignty, from performance to presence, from a life you created to be accepted to a reality that resonates with who you actually are. This video isn't just a description of what's happening. It's a mirror, a transmission, a map. Because what's collapsing around you isn't random, it's sacred. And the sooner you stop trying to hold it all together, the sooner you'll realize you were never supposed to carry it this far. There's a reason your life feels like it's happening in slow motion. Why you can't fully connect to the future you thought you were building. Why you look around and everything seems recognizable, but nothing feels real. It's because the template you've been living inside is no longer holding your frequency. This isn't metaphysical poetry. It's vibrational truth. The energetic scaffolding that once supported your thoughts, habits, relationships, and goals is disintegrating. Not dramatically, but steadily, from the inside out. And most people won't notice, because they're still moving at the speed of distraction, still chasing productivity over presence, still responding to reality as if it's stable. But you felt it before it could be named. The slowing, the distortion, the invisible void between what was and what's coming. This is what mystics have long referred to as field fracture, a collapse of coherence between the self you've been and the self you're becoming. It begins subtly. Your goals start to feel irrelevant. Your passions dim without warning. Your body resists environments that used to feel normal. You feel present, but also like you're floating between timelines, between identities, between layers of self. And it's not dysfunction. It's recalibration. What's breaking right now is not your purpose. It's your attachment to a version of yourself that was shaped in response to fear, approval, survival. And now the field around you is no longer supporting that version because your soul isn't asking for more. It's asking for real, for resonance, for congruence. The energetic shift we're living through doesn't just update your mood. It demands a new template of embodiment, one where every action, word, and relationship flows from truth. And so anything built from performance, distortion, or unconscious agreement must collapse, not because you're being punished, but because your next level requires internal coherence. You're not disconnecting from life. You're disconnecting from the version of life that no longer honors who you are now. Let's name what's really happening. You are not lost. You are not lazy. And no, this isn't just a hard week. You're experiencing what can only be described as a template collapse. A soul-level unraveling of the energetic structures you unconsciously built your life around. And now that your frequency no longer matches those structures, they're falling. Silently, systematically, right beneath your feet. And that collapse doesn't show up with explosions. It shows up like this. You stop caring about things that once defined you. You can't tolerate certain environments, even when they're familiar. You wake up feeling disoriented, even if everything looks the same. You want to cry, but don't know what you're mourning. You feel empty, but not in a broken way, more like something is being cleared out. That emptiness, it's sacred. Because collapse isn't destruction. It's the clearing of false coherence, the unraveling of stories, identities, and timelines that no longer reflect the truth of your being. And this is why your body is acting differently. Your nervous system was designed to protect the identity you've been living in. It became wired around the expectations, pressures, and roles you carried just to survive. And now, those roles are disintegrating, and your body doesn't know what to do with the space. So it panics, it resists, it fatigues, it numbs. Not because something is wrong, but because you've never lived in this much open field before. You are walking through an internal migration, and your external world hasn't caught up yet. That lag, that surreal feeling that life is glitching, is the space between operating systems. One built on adaptation, the other built on alignment. And the moment your soul chooses alignment, everything built on adaptation begins to unravel. Your routines don't work. Your goals don't inspire you. Your plans feel meaningless. Not because you failed, but because your inner compass has recalibrated. This is what true change feels like. Not fireworks, not epiphanies, just a slow, aching detachment from everything you thought was you. And here's the paradox. You will want to rebuild immediately. You will crave clarity, structure, direction, but the field won't let you. Because if you build too soon, you'll recreate the very thing that's being dissolved. This is the invitation. Stay. Stay in the void. Stay with the stillness. Stay with the rawness of not knowing. Because what's forming in you now isn't just a new plan. It's a new frequency of being. And that frequency cannot be rushed. So if you feel disconnected, emptied, strange, or slowed down, don't force yourself back into speed or structure. You're not meant to rebuild from the same mind that held the old story together. You're meant to let the collapse complete itself. So what rises afterward is real. This is the space in between timelines. And in this space, the deepest work happens, not through action, but through presence. The human soul doesn't evolve in straight lines. It moves in spirals, through layers, cycles, and echoes. And when it's time to shed an outdated version of self, the process is rarely dramatic. It's quiet, confusing, often mistaken for depression, burnout, or emotional failure. But it's not. It's spiritual deconstruction. And once it begins, your system will enter a sequence of phases. They may overlap, they may loop, but the map exists. And when you see it, you stop resisting your own evolution. Phase 1, the unnamed friction. It starts subtly. The things that once brought comfort begin to irritate you. The rhythms of your life feel mechanical. You find yourself pulling away from conversations, from people, from roles. There's no obvious problem, but your body knows, this no longer feels like me. This is the phase of vibrational tension. Your soul has shifted, but your surroundings haven't caught up. You feel the misalignment everywhere, in your stomach, in your jaw, in your chest. Not because you're wrong, but because your truth has outgrown your environment. Phase 2, the sense of floating. You've detached from the old, but the new hasn't arrived. This is the void, not quite here, not quite gone. You feel like you're in between worlds. And you are. It's not depression. It's displacement from the false self. You no longer recognize who you've been, but you haven't fully met who you're becoming. This is where you feel most tempted to go back to the job, the people, the performance. Not because they're right, but because they're known. Stay. Don't fill the gap. Let the void do its work. Phase 3, the flood of truth. With enough space, the truth rises. Old memories resurface. Unhealed wounds pulse again. Triggers come back louder, rawer. This isn't regression. It's truth revealing what's still active beneath your awareness. You start realizing what you tolerated that you shouldn't have, what you accepted as love that was actually control, what you silenced in yourself just to be allowed to stay. This phase hurts, but it also frees, because now you can't pretend anymore. This is where boundaries begin to form, not from anger, but from clarity. Phase 4, the quiet exit. This is when the soul begins pulling you inward. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing validation. You stop engaging in energy leaks. You start to crave stillness, solitude, neutrality. And not because you're dissociating, but because your nervous system is reorganizing around your truth. This phase feels like a slow fade. You might unfollow people you once idolized, say no without guilt, grieve parts of yourself you didn't realize were holding everything together. This is where you realize, I no longer want to be understood by the world I've outgrown. Phase 5, the return of inner gravity. Then one day, something clicks. You wake up and feel calm, not euphoric, not high, just steady. You answer texts slower. You choose your words with more presence. You breathe deeper. You feel okay, even in uncertainty. This is not a high-frequency buzz. This is stabilized truth. You're not seeking the next breakthrough anymore. You're living from what's already integrated. And from this groundedness, your reality starts to shift. New opportunities arrive without force. People show up who match your new pace. You no longer betray your body to meet expectations. You walk through the world like someone who knows exactly what they're not available for. This is spiritual embodiment, and it doesn't need to be announced. You just are. These 5 phases are not a checklist, they are initiations, each one peeling away another layer of performance, illusion, and distortion. And if you're anywhere in this process, you're not failing. You're not unraveling randomly. You're being refined. You are becoming someone your past self wouldn't have recognized, but your future self already remembers. You're not who you used to be, but you're also not fully who you're becoming. And this space, the in-between, is where most people lose their center. Because there's no map, no labels, no clear sense of direction. But there is a frequency, and that frequency doesn't need you to fix anything. It needs you to hold steady. This isn't about pushing forward. It's about learning how to stay present while the old version of you fades away. These 7 practices aren't solutions. They're containers, anchors for your nervous system, your energy field, and your soul while your structure reorganizes. 1. Begin each morning with a frequency reset. Before the world asks you to be anything, be with yourself. Don't scroll, don't engage, don't let old energy back in. Instead, sit up, feet flat on the ground, one hand on your chest, one on your solar plexus, and say aloud, I return to my field. I allow what no longer resonates to dissolve. Today I walk in truth, not tension. This single act programs your body to respond to now, not to old patterns or expectations. 2. Let yourself be bored, blank, or still law. You don't need to be inspired. You don't need to know your next step. You don't need to explain why you're pulling away. You're not malfunctioning. You're in a field-wide integration window. Your nervous system is recalibrating. So allow stillness, allow boredom, allow the moments when nothing feels urgent. Stop filling the space, because sometimes clarity doesn't arrive with noise. It arrives after it. 3. Choose presence over performance. Every time you catch yourself doing something just because it's expected, pause and ask, is this aligned with who I'm becoming or a performance rooted in who I was? Then make a micro shift. It could look like not replying instantly, saying no, even if you're afraid to disappoint, canceling a plan that feels heavy, eating slower, moving slower, breathing deeper. Each small act of resonance over roll strengthens your energetic boundaries. 4. Tend to your physical space as an extension of your field. Your environment is a mirror, and when your energy shifts, your space must shift with it. Today, choose one small area, a drawer, a shelf, your phone's home screen, and ask, does this reflect who I'm becoming or who I've outgrown? Clear, rearrange, let go, burn herbs, open windows, play silence or 528 hertz. Let your physical world become a confirmation of your internal change. 5. Speak from your future self. Even if you're still becoming language anchors reality. If you keep saying, I don't know what's happening, I'm so tired and confused, everything is falling apart, then your field listens. Your body follows. Your energy loops. Try this instead. I'm releasing the noise. I'm remembering what peace feels like. I trust what's being cleared, even if I don't understand it yet. You're not faking it. You're stabilizing your frequency with words. 6. Create a soft evening ritual to close the collapse loop. Each day carries energetic residue, and when you're in spiritual transition, that residue becomes heavier. Before bed, light a candle or turn off overhead lights. Place your hands on your lap. Close your eyes and say, I let go of what I carried today. I return any energy that's not mine. I make space for what's coming. Visualize your body glowing in gentle neutrality. Feel your energy untangling from every obligation, fear, and attachment. Let your sleep become a healing chamber, not a survival crash. 7. Anchor into one non-negotiable daily act of self-integrity. Everything is shifting, but something must stay stable. Your choice to stay in alignment. Pick one thing, just one, that reflects your highest self, and do it daily. It could be drinking water before coffee, journaling 3 sentences before bed, taking a walk without your phone, saying one honest thing you've been avoiding. This isn't about control. It's about reminding your system what it feels like to act from truth. Because when everything else feels uncertain, even one small act of integrity becomes a lighthouse in the dark. You don't need to rush this process. You don't need to label it. You don't even need to fully understand it. You just need to stay connected to your inner field. Because the version of you that's being born now, they don't need applause. They need protection, stillness, practice. And that's what these tools are, not escape plans, but containers for becoming. If you've made it this far, then you already know. You're not here to go back. You're not here to repeat the performance. You're not here to rebuild the version of you that only knew how to survive. You're here to remember what's real, to hold stillness when the world demands movement, to stay true when your fear begs for safety, to walk as the person you've always been, beneath the noise, the roles, the masks. This isn't about transcendence. It's about return. Not to who you were, but to who you were, always becoming. And now, in the silence after the collapse, in the space where clarity hasn't fully formed, in the rawness of not knowing, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are not waiting. You are widening your capacity to live in resonance, to create from peace, to speak from presence, to love without negotiation. So take this moment now, place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and whisper, I don't need to rebuild the life I've outgrown. I don't need to explain the path no one else can see. I just need to trust the frequency that's already unfolding within me. Let that be your anchor, because what's coming next doesn't require more effort. It requires more authenticity. And the world doesn't need another version of who you were. It needs the truth you almost forgot how to hold. Now you remember. If this message met you where you are, that's not coincidence. That's coherence. And coherence is contagious. So drop a comment below. What part of you is dissolving? What truth are you ready to embody? What are you walking away from? Not in anger, but in alignment. Your voice helps others stabilize. Your resonance becomes a mirror for someone else's remembering. Share this video with someone who feels suspended in the unknown. They don't need advice. They need presence. Subscribe if you know that this isn't just content. It's a frequency, a rhythm, a place to return to. Every video here is a reminder. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are becoming. So take a breath, let it land. And when you're ready, don't rebuild. Just begin.